By 1485, England had been torn apart by decades of civil war. The Wars of the Roses had pitted the rival houses of Lancaster and York against each other in a brutal struggle for the crown. After years of shifting loyalties, betrayals and bloodshed, the conflict was finally approaching its end. One final battle would decide who would rule England and who would fall. The year is 1485. Lancaster faces York at Bosworth Field. A king's fate will be decided on the battlefield. Richard III, the last Yorkist king, had ruled England for just 2 years. He was a skilled commander and an experienced warrior, but his throne was fragile. Whispers of usurpation, rumours surrounding the disappearance of his nephews, the princes in the Tower, and resentment from powerful nobles had left his reign unstable. Across the Channel, Henry Tudor, a Lancastrian claimant who had spent years in exile, saw his opportunity. With French support, he landed in Wales and gathered an army as he marched across England. Though his force was smaller than Richard's, Henry carried something far more dangerous: dissatisfaction among the English nobility. The two armies clashed at Bosworth Field on August 22, 1485. Richard's army was larger and better supplied. He commanded seasoned knights, archers and artillery, giving him a clear advantage. Henry's force, though determined, was smaller and less experienced. On paper, the outcome should have been certain. But loyalty was uncertain. Many nobles had not yet chosen sides. Among them was Lord Stanley, whose support could decide the battle. He stood with his troops nearby, waiting to see which way the fight would turn. The battle began with brutal fighting as Yorkist forces pushed hard against Henry's lines. Richard, seeing an opening, made a bold and fateful decision. Leading a cavalry charge himself, he aimed directly at Henry, hoping to end the battle in a single stroke. With his knights at his side, Richard cut through Henry's guards and came within striking distance of the Lancastrian claimant. It was the act of a true warrior king, but it was also a gamble, and it failed. As Richard pressed forward, Lord Stanley finally revealed his hand. His forces turned against the Yorkists, crashing into Richard's flanks. The betrayal shattered Yorkist morale. Richard suddenly found himself surrounded, cut off from his main army. Still, he refused to flee. According to legend, he shouted that he would live or die as king. He fought with ferocity, cutting down enemies even as his men fell around him. But the numbers were too great. Richard III was struck down in the melee, dying in the mud of Bosworth Field. The battle was over. Henry Tudor had won. But this was not just a victory, it was the end of an era. With Richard's death, the Plantagenet dynasty, which had ruled England for more than 3 centuries, came to an end. Henry claimed the crown as King Henry VII, founding the Tudor dynasty. His marriage to Elizabeth of York united the warring houses, bringing a fragile peace to a kingdom that had been torn apart for a generation. The significance of Bosworth went far beyond one battle. It marked the close of the medieval era of English history and the dawn of a new age of monarchy. The Tudors would preside over a century of transformation, from Henry VIII's break with Rome to Elizabeth I's rise as one of Europe's most powerful rulers. All of it began with a single decisive clash in 1485. Could Richard III have survived? Some historians argue that if he had secured the loyalty of the Stanleys before the battle, his larger army could have crushed Henry. If he had not gambled everything on his desperate cavalry charge, he might have fought a longer and more organized campaign. But others suggest his downfall was inevitable, his reign too short, his allies too uncertain, and his enemies too determined. The Battle of Bosworth remains one of the most famous turning points in English history. It ended one dynasty and began another. It ended the Wars of the Roses and gave birth to the Tudors. And it showed how the fate of a kingdom can be decided in just a few moments of chaos and betrayal. Like and subscribe for more historical breakdowns.